Welcome back. Now, BJP Tamil Nadu President K. Annamalai's RTI on Katchatheevu Island has outed several sensational revelations, putting the Congress and the DMK primarily in the dock. Yesterday, the RTI report accessed by CNN News18 showed how Nehru attached no importance to the island and declared that he wouldn't hesitate to give up the claim. And then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi towed a similar line, entered into a compromise with then Sri Lankan Prime Minister Srimaro Bandaranaike in 1974, ceding the island's claim to Lanka. The move was backed by then Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Karunanidhi, and this is why this is becoming extremely important ahead of the general elections. But today we bring you more explosive revelations from this report. Did the Indian government act under pressure of a hostile Sri Lanka and even a Chinese threat? So were we rushed into this 1974 pact with Sri Lanka? Let me break down certain aspects of the report accessed by CNN News18. First up, the RTI report quotes what the then Foreign Secretary had told then Chief Minister M. Karunanidhi, that Sri Lanka was putting a lot of pressure to refer this issue to an international court, the International Court of Justice, that Sri Lanka was putting pressure to settle the island issue quickly, so there was no time that they could give to this issue. They wanted to settle this within a year or as quickly as possible. The then Foreign Secretary also hinted at a strong pro-China lobby in Sri Lanka. So even at that time, the understanding was indeed there that China was using their proximity or was building a proximity with Sri Lanka, and that was to counter India. He mentioned that a pro-China lobby was eager to take advantage of these tensions between the two countries. Then Foreign Secretary told then Chief Minister Karunanidhi that if Sri Lanka moved to the international court, that could end up as an embarrassment for India. He cited that dealing the issue was not in India's favor, but they also cited how India wanted to avoid any third-party interference. He also mentioned that these world bodies or these international courts tended to favor smaller countries over a larger one. So therefore, the narrative perhaps could not be in India's favor. Now, former Indian diplomat Nirupama Rao brought out another facet to the story. She highlighted Professor Partha Ghosh's statements on the entire episode. And here is what the JNU professor had said on the matter. The Katchatheevu was the most typical case of a personal equation playing the role of diplomacy. This is what has been written in the past on this episode. The Indian official delegation was virtually pressurizing Indira Gandhi not to give up India's claim. So actually the bureaucracy felt otherwise. But here's the twist. The counterpart Bandaranaike made a personal appeal to Indira Gandhi to come to her rescue because of political reasons. And Indira appreciated this predicament and manipulated the situation so that the end effect of India's negotiations was that India would cede the island claim. Bandaranaike, in fact, remembered this gesture as late as 1990 with immense gratitude. So was it done more because the Prime Minister of the day could just do it? These are the questions that the Congress is facing today. Also, why was the Sri Lanka-China Tango not recognized or the Chinese threat not recognized, and yet this strategically placed island was given away? Let's go across to our guest joining us. YG Madhuvantil is leader of Tamil Nadu BJP, Lakshmi Ramachandran from the Congress Party, and Professor Madhav Nalapa, geopolitical analyst, Vice Chair, Manipal Advanced Research Group, joining us. I do thank you all for your time. Lakshmi, let me come to you first up. How do you respond to these revelations coming where the Indian government did not even foresee that this island could be strategically important for us, given that even at that time we were recognizing the Chinese threat or the Chinese-Sri Lankan tango on the issue?
Hello, and let me start by reminding you about this government. The current government gave an RTI reply in 2015 saying, on the same issue of Katchatheevu, the same foreign ministry gave a reply saying that no piece of land, Indian land, was ceded or acquired. They clearly stated that the international maritime boundaries were drawn, and because after the drawing of the international maritime boundary, Katchatheevu,
I get that, but isn't that fighting over semantics? This was a disputed piece of land which both countries claimed Title 2. So even if it wasn't technically giving away Indian land, but surely India needn't have given up the claim.
No, okay, yeah. Let me answer that question.
Yeah.
So this government, the current government, gave a historic financial package, financial assistance to Sri Lanka when it faced an unprecedented economic crisis. It
Yeah.
was a billion dollar financial package.
Yes.
So when that package was given away, even IMF did not extend that kind of support to Sri Lanka. So when that package was given away, why was this not taken up with the Sri Lankan government? Because even today, Tondeman, their Sri Lankan minister, has claimed that in the 10-year period that Modi government has governed India, this issue of Katchatheevu was never taken up with them. Why did they fail?
Okay, I'll get to that. I'll ask the BJP representative on that why are they not following up on their talk? But you're not answering the question I asked you. Do you then at least concede that yes, giving up the claim to the island was wrong?
Let me tell you Mrs. Indira Gandhi's track record. It was Mrs. Indira Gandhi who got us the fishing rights in Wedge Bank. Wedge Bank is a 4,000 square mile area below Kanyakumari. Again, both Sri Lanka and India claimed rights over this part of the sea, because this was a very, what do I call it? It was a very low tide area, very dense in fish population. So both fishermen from both the countries, claimed this area. It was Mrs. Indira Gandhi who got us the fishing rights and the exclusive fishing rights.
Yes, but did you hear what I brought out about Indira Gandhi? These are experts who've written about Indira Gandhi, how she seemed to just give up the claim despite the advice of the bureaucracy at that time, because the counterpart made a request for it.
No. Is Indira Gandhi a type of person, is a type of leader who will see anything? She was a person who annexed Sikkim. She was a person who went to war with Pakistan and she reduced the area. I think
Okay.
14% of Pakistan's area got reduced because East Pakistan became Bangladesh. Do you even think Indira Gandhi is capable of doing?
So you're comparing other things she did with this, but you're not really defending her action in this case. Okay, one second. Let me bring in the BJP's. One second. Let me bring in Madhuvanti. Madhuvanti, I think Lakshmi has a point. One second, ma'am. One second, ma'am. Lakshmi has a point when she says, since you've been, doing this diplomacy in a much better way under the new foreign minister and especially around the neighborhood, when India helped Sri Lanka with that lifeline of a loan that even the IMF would not give without very strict conditions, why did we not bargain for this island back? How have you followed up?
Good evening to all of you. First and foremost, who has said that these questions have not been asked? Many a time these questions have been asked.
No, not officially by the Indian government, certainly.
No, 1 minute. Can you allow me to finish? You gave the Congress representative enough time to talk. Unless you give me time, it's not easy for me to talk. This always happens in every debate. The BJP person gets the least time.
No. Are you saying the Indian government has diplomatically raised this issue with Sri Lanka?
No. I am only saying, why is everybody going on this alarm bell the minute the RTI papers have come out today? I am talking about the debate in place today. You have asked a question about Katchatheevu today. Why is it that nobody is giving an answer about what happened in 1974? Why is everybody beating around the bush? That is the question I'm asking back to my Congress representative, my dear panel mate, Madam Lakshmi, who's on the debate. Why is it that she's beating around the bush when we ask you questions about why Katchatheevu was given in 74 in the first place? Why are you coming to 2015? Why are you not talking about what happened in 74? Why is that statement or why is that entire act not being defendable? That is my question.
No, so the Congress says, how can you even imagine somebody as strong as Indira Gandhi giving up anything that belongs to India willy-nilly?
Ma'am, it is out there for you to see. The RTI documents are crystal clear. What do you mean you're living in La La Land, or you're just closing your eyes and saying the world is dark? I don't understand this. It's there for the whole world to see today that it was Madam Indira Gandhi who did what she did. I don't understand how you can say a person who's as strong as Indira Gandhi, how did she do this? I do not understand the premise of this question.
But
Please
the
end.
but the AG, the legal opinion on this case was complex at that time. I'm also not understanding what the BJP's argument is, because
The BJP's argument is very
the
simple,
legal
ma'am.
case
Our
on
state
this matter
president-
till 1974 oscillated. Sometimes people believed it was a good claim, sometimes they did not believe it was a good
Ma'am,
claim.
after this, after the entire episode has happened, we have been seeing, because of this, the international border shrinking, and because of this, fishermen who go to, because the right to fish in that area was also revoked after a whole year.
Yes.
Although we were given permission, that whole right was revoked. You must remember that. And after that, the fishermen who've been going anywhere close to international borders have been getting caught by the Sri Lankan Navy. And for the past 10 years, if you can take up, you can please go into the Minister of External Affairs Twitter account. You don't even have to go into the government's account. You have to go into his Twitter account and see the number of times our BJP state president, Mr. Annamalai, for the past 3 years, has been requesting to release the fishermen who've been getting caught in these international waters.
No, fair
and
enough.
Mr.
I'm not
Jaishankar doing the
undermining
needful.
the fishermen crisis or issue. But
So that
is
is the
it fair
issue.
to say that the Congress was lackadaisical in giving up the claim to this island? Let me go to Professor Madhav Nalapat
It was
on
not
that.
lackadaisical. They did it knowingly. There was nothing lackadaisical about
They
it.
did
They
it
knew fully well what they
knowingly.
were doing.
How do you read into this, Professor Nalapat? Because, you know, this Professor Partha Ghosh's, reading of the situation, that it was more a personal equation than anything else. A personal political request was made, and Indira Gandhi almost granted that request, which built her personal relationship, but it was against the advice of the government or the officials at that time. That doesn't look good.
Shivani, quite frankly, the law and based on the constitution is very, very clear. A leader's personal preferences do not matter. What matters is the law, and what matters is the integrity and unity of India. The Raja of Ramnad was the sovereign of Katchatheevu Island up to 1948, if I recall.
Yes.
Independence came in 1947. The Raja of Ramnad joined India, not Pakistan. There was no option of joining Sri Lanka. This is territory belonging to Ramnad. So tomorrow, if let us say that the other princely states who have also acceded to India, thanks to a lot of effort by, for example, Sardar Patel, a Congress party leader, supposing then they say, oh, this part, we can separate. The fact is the entirety of the possessions of Raja of Ramnad belonged to India as per the Accession Act. So it was actually, in my view, I don't know if somebody should take it up in the Supreme Court, illegal to hand over Indian territory.
No, actually, one of the diplomats on my show yesterday said that any such decision should be ratified by the parliament. This decision wasn't ratified by the parliament. It seemed like the Prime Minister of the day just decided, okay, I'm just going to do it because I read the situation this way, or my government reads it this way, or my political counterpart has asked for it. So certainly that's not how a decision like this can be made.
Let me just point out, all these arguments that the then Foreign Secretary trotted out are absurd. The International Court of Justice is not taken seriously by any major power. India has, from the beginning, been a major power. Jawaharlal Nehru saw it as a major power. Indira Gandhi saw it as a major power. Every Prime Minister has seen a major power. The International Court of Justice, the toothless body, it is, it can generate newspaper headlines. It cannot generate decisions.
So you're saying we shouldn't have cared what the global opinion could have been, and we should have stuck to the claim.
How do we know that the court would rule against India?
Yeah.
It was clearly stated that the Indian case was very strong. And my point is, the central point of the case was, this was territory belonging to Ramnad. And the Raja of Ramnad acceded to India. So as per the Accession Act, then you are questioning every single accession of every single one of the nearly 500 princely states by saying bits and pieces of their territory.
No, before I go back to a political guess, I want to ask the Chinese factor here. You know, some people, some even diplomats and experts also suggested till yesterday that, see, we didn't really see it though so strategically, and sure enough, we have benefit of hindsight now. Although I think when it comes to foreign policy, you should be able to see 50 years, if not a century in advance. That's your job in government. It's not to see just what happens tomorrow and day after. But let's say we didn't see it strategically at that time. But it's quite clear from the documents of that time, we did see this Chinese threat. So why did we take it so lightly? Mr. Nalapad.
Look, I'd like to say that Mrs. Gandhi, unfortunately, she had a feeling that she could do what she liked, irrespective of the law. In 1 or 2 years, that actually happened. Now, for example, we had 93,000 military people in Pakistan as prisoners of war. We sent them all back. Not a single one was held guilty for the genocide that many thousands of them committed. And frankly, that is an injustice to humanity and to the people of Bangladesh that not even one of their torturers and the
Okay.
genocidal maniacs was held to account. What did we get for that in Simla? We got nothing. Why?
Okay,
Because
okay. So
Zulfikar
there have been
Ali
certain
Bhutto
weak
made a
negotiation.
personal
I have
appeal to
limited
Indira
time, so I'll
Gandhi.
give 30 seconds each to our political guests. I want to ask Lakshmi very quickly, ma'am. The sense is that the Congress, particularly the Nehru family, almost treated certain decisions about territorial integrity of India as if it was their personal fiefdom to decide.
I just have to correct what the gentleman just mentioned. Raja of Ramnad was not a Raja. He didn't exceed his territory to India. He was just a zamindar.
It was
No, he was
part of Ramnath. It was part of Ramnath.
part
Always
of
been
the
part of Ramnath.
Madras
From
province even before independence. He was part of the Madras province even before.
Ma'am, my
independence. So-
question.
exactly, it was part of India.
Just me and her, please.
Let me also remind you that Jammu Kashmir, Junagadh, Hyderabad, Travancore were all not part of India when India became independent. It was Jawaharlal Nehru and Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel who made all these princely states part of India. As I already told you, it was Indira Gandhi who annexed Sikkim. It was Indira Gandhi who reduced the land area by 15%. And coming to the International Court of Justice, International Court of Justice ruled that India has to give 40 square kilometer of our land to Bangladesh. Modi government abided by that ruling of the International Court of Justice
Okay.
and gave away 40.
All right, I've run out of time. I do thank all of our guests for joining us on what is turning out to be the big political debate, certainly pertaining to Tamil Nadu ahead of the general elections. My colleague Aman Sharma also decodes each and every detail of this RTI report, as I mentioned, particularly the China mention. Take a look.
Latest RTI revelations about the Katchatheevu island are now raising questions over the fact that why did India rush through this process of giving up its claim over Katchatheevu in 1973, 1974? Why did India act under that, what India described at that time, unrelenting pressure from Sri Lanka? And why did India consider its case to be weak? Well, the Foreign Secretary of that time, Mr. Keval Singh, had gone to meet Mr. M. Karunanidhi, the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, in 1974, and this is what he briefed him as per the RTI documents. Number one revelation: the Foreign Secretary explained to the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu the relative weakness of India's case for sovereignty over Katchatheevu as compared to that of Ceylon. So India already was telling the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu that our case is weak. India was presuming its case to be weak, and this is against legal advice earlier that India had a strong case. But here, the Foreign Secretary is telling the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu that our case is weak, and that is why we are going into a bilateral agreement. Revelation number 2. If you go to the para 9 of this particular document, it says the Sri Lankan side be convinced of the superiority of their case and also aware of the shortcomings of our case. This is what the Foreign Secretary felt, has maintained a sustained pressure on us to refer to the matter to the International Court of Justice. He further said that this pressure since October 1973 has been unrelenting. So unrelenting, sustained pressure by a much smaller country like Sri Lanka on India had become a bone of contention here, and India is citing this to Mr. Karunanidhi. The central government is citing this to Mr. Karunanidhi for an expeditious solution, which was ceding India's right over the Katchatheevu island. So this is what he's saying. 1973, the pressure had become unrelenting. There was sustained pressure. Also, very importantly, him saying that that there is a very strong pro-Chinese lobby in Sri Lanka, which is eager to take off any misunderstanding between India and Sri Lanka, and that is why they could push Sri Lanka to go to the International Court of Justice, and that would be embarrassing for India, because India thought its case is weak. If it goes to the International Court of Justice, we will certainly lose there. That's what the Indira government thought at that time, and it said that pro-Chinese lobby in India would take advantage of it. China would gain from this conflict between India and Sri Lanka. India also very clearly telling, holding a view that it did not want to go at all for a third-party arbitration or go to the International Court of Justice, because the Foreign Secretary told Ms. Karunanidhi that our experience of going on arbitration to a third party or International Court of Justice has not been good in the case of Kashmir in the Security Council or in the case of Kutch, and usually the world opinion at the global stage is in the favor of a small country against a big country. India presumed that it will not win the case at International Court of Justice. They thought it was best to settle it bilaterally very, very soon, so as to preserve their bilateral relation with Sri Lanka, which was put on a higher pedestal than maybe India's claim on the Katchatheevu Island.
Also cutting across to Amit Shah, Home Minister's roadshow in Ramanagara. He's doing this roadshow in Bengaluru with JDS leader Kumaraswamy. Remember, Ramanagara is bastion of Karnataka Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shiv Kumar. The Home Minister building up a tempo of sorts for the BJP JDS combined, this time ahead of the Lok Sabha polls. But Karnataka is a tricky state for them. They've recently lost a state election in the state, with Congress coming back with some resurgence. This time around, they've also gone with a pre-poll alliance with the JDS. JDS was in power briefly with the Congress not so long ago. And here you have Amit Shah roadshow going on with the JDS leader Kumaraswamy as well. On that note, I take your leave. My colleague Rahul Shivshankar is joining you with the hard facts.